Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM 106.3, and welcoming back with great pleasure Kathy Spiers, Chair of the Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, John.
I do hope things are going well with you and you feel suitably empowered after your meeting last week to explore empowering community boards. Still don't know what that means, do you?
Well, kind of. But yes, we did have a workshop around empowering the community boards. And I guess, community boards are, they belong to the community boards themselves. So it's up to community boards to get out in the community and listen to our community. Mm-hmm. So when we need things on the agenda, it's for the community board to say, well, we want to know more about this or more about that. But however, because there's been some issues recently at Otaki with the liquor license,
yes,
it would be really good if community boards in our local areas were notified prior to once council knows about the applications being received, the community boards were notified and maybe have a paper on our agenda so we can have some discussion about it and know where these liquor outlets are going to be set up in our area, so we can have a good discussion about it and get community thoughts around that as well, rather than just them popping up.
Indeed. Now, that particular application, it certainly has promoted a lot of discussion. Many people saying they simply weren't aware of the ad in the paper, weren't aware that it was going on. And when the Licensing Commission had their hearings, a lot of people felt as if they were excluded from it. Are you saying that the Licensing Commission approaches the council before they put the ad in the paper?
Well, yes, when it arrives at council, they'll be aware of it, so they, let the community boards know that these are the applications we have received. Because a lot of people, and I know I'm one of them, we actually do not get our paper delivered a lot lately.
No,
so
this is a thing. It's a distressing thing, isn't it? So that's, I'm really worried about the state of the media at the moment. We're feeling very, very lonely here at Beach FM. And so that's a very good point. Is the council asked to comment on an application early? I'm just trying to work out the timing of this to make sure that there is, in fact, enough time for you to be properly notified.
Well, that's another issue, isn't it? Because they could know the day after we have a community board meeting, and then there's not another community board meeting for another 6 weeks. But however, it does give the community board time to know what's in the area, and maybe we could have some pop-up sessions in the community to get a feeling on the community and feed that back into council. Because some of the Martin Jenkins report says, even though community boards are an advocate for the community, there's also opportunities to see how the community boards can also, we get more communication between council plans and then reporting back to the community board. So we're aware more of what is happening in the community.
You have notes taken by council staff, don't you? In other words, you have a secretariat.
Yes.
And there is some concern that maybe community boards, because of their independent nature, are doing things in a different way, or maybe they're reporting in different ways, and maybe it's difficult to compare and, in fact, be able to move on. Do you think you need more support from KCDC, more than just having someone writing the notes? Officers who can advise you on formatting, who can advise you on whatever is required?
Yes, well, that was another issue actually that came out of the Martin Jenkins report about the levels of technology and other support that community boards, that what we may need to help us to share information in a more, in good time, to get it in a timely manner, basically. But it's a biggie because it's like in council, and I've often thought this: you have all these different departments. And you've got a community board, and you've got to try and, know what's going on and resource consents and open spaces and bylaws and policies. And it's the same for councillors. You've got to have an eye on all the different departments or activities in council. And it's a huge job to try and I guess with staff as well, they're extremely busy. And they don't want to be thinking of community boards every time something comes up, do they? So they've got to get on and do the job.
Gosh,
So
it's all communication, isn't it? All the way through, at all
Yes.
levels, it's communication.
It
I
is,
happen to think
yes.
there are very, very few villains involved in this, but there can be oversights, and you can understand why. As you say, it's a massive ship and difficult to know where all the moving parts are. So did you find that the community board workshop was valuable?
Yes, it was really good, because I brought up one of the issues, like of community boards in the long-term plan. We're going for like $30,000, hopefully, for localities funding, to spend in our localities, 20,000 operational and 10,000 capital funding.
Yes.
But it's all of this now since COVID-19 by local. And I've mentioned before, like down at Raumati Beach, they'd like some seats, or like bike stands and a dog watering area and these different things.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, who has control over the money? Do we have to say to council,
Right.
you know, the Raumati Beach, they want a seat, but council may have somewhere where they get them from? And I said, but hang on here a minute. It's to do with health and safety. And I said, but we've got the men's shed, we've got the shed project. You know, that's where we should be supporting and spending the money. They can build seats. So the outcome of that was we'll just ask staff for what the health and safety issues are.
Right.
It was quite simple, because sometimes, you know, we don't want to be told, well, you know, if the community wants a seat, we have to buy it from here, and it could be someone out of the district. We need to spend that money locally and help our own communities to survive through these times as well.
And presumably there are standard plans for seats and that sort of thing that
Yes.
the shed or the men's shed could build too. So
Absolutely.
presumably that can be done to at least the same standard. And they're both wonderful organisations. Kathy, I wonder if I could bring up the beach bylaw. I've got a feeling in my waters that this is going to be somewhat controversial this time around. How's the consultation going so far?
Oh, it went really well on last Tuesday at the Senior Citizens Hall. We had a contingent from the Manly Street North people, very much up in arms and saying, you know, leave it alone. It's working well. Just leave it alone. And some comments were around then the beach bylaw. There's not a lot wrong with it, and there really isn't. But the issue is it's an enforcement issue. You know,
Yes.
so. Why are you bringing in more laws when the only really issue is enforcement? So yes, there's a very strong feeling from the Manly Street North. Just leave it alone.
Not at all surprised. Are there more consultation meetings coming up?
Yes, we have one tomorrow night. That's Wednesday night at the Otahanga Boating Club from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Right.
And we've got lots of information. We've got papers on the beach bylaw review. We've got the beach bylaw statement of proposal, the existing bylaw. There's lots of papers. Summary of the beach bylaw 2009 by area. So there's quite a lot of information, and we've got the submission forms as well.
Excellent. Oh, she's got it all, this girl. Wonderful to talk to you. Thank you so much for your company this morning. Kathy Spiers, Chair of the Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board, thank you for your company.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
106.3 Beach FM.